Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Night Bros Commentary once again. Today, we are going to be discussing the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with this episode in particular being about Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. So, without further ado, let's begin. Yeah, so essentially, this movie basically starts off with a nice little happy monologue from Paul Rudd, Ant-Man.
Yeah.
And essentially, he's basically, I want to say he's narrating a book, like his own book, honestly. So. It's actually a pretty good book, all things considered. It's very inspirational and whatnot. And then he basically gets a call from the San Francisco County jails
Yep.
because his daughter got arrested and drank a cop car. And then after that, they basically have like a nice little family dinner. Then they basically show Janet what they were working on. Janet is basically Hope's mom and Hank Pym's wife, for those who are just don't remember. But essentially, they end up in the quantum realm thanks to something that Ant-Man's daughter was working on. I forget her name.
Casey.
Yeah, Casey, that's it. I don't know why I can't remember her name. But anyway, eventually they get sucked into the quantum realm. They kind of end up split in two groups with Scott and Cassie in one group and Hope, Janet, and Hank in the other group. Janet's group basically kind of goes off to try to find one of her former associates who is basically now working for Kang the Conqueror. While basically Ant-Man and Cassie are kind of going off and they find like a whole bunch of rebels trying to fight Kang as well, or rather trying to run. Actually, not really fighting so much as trying to run away from him, but
To survive, yeah.
yeah, essentially. Eventually, Kane basically captures Ant-Man and Cassie, and Kane kind of forces them to cooperate. While this is happening, we basically kind of get like a nice little backstory with Janet, and essentially she just kind of like goes over her relationship to Kang the Conqueror, how he kind of showed up in the quantum realm, and how she almost helped him escape the quantum realm, and basically kind of spends the rest of her time fighting against him until eventually, basically, when she gets rescued in Ant-Man 2. So eventually, yeah, basically they all kind of work together to basically bring down Kane. They destroy his little time engine ball sphere thing, and they they do end up killing Kang in this movie.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Once you see the movie, if you haven't seen it yet, you'll kind of understand what we mean. But overall, I would say it was actually a really good movie, all things considered. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, just to give quick thoughts, I would say, it's better. It's one of the better ones. The MCU Phase 4 was not my favorite. There were a couple great highs, but a lot of the movings ended up falling a little bit short. This one is kind of what I expected. Truthfully, it was another Ant-Man movie. It had some lighthearted moments, a lot of humor. Paul Rudd is,
I mean,
as
Paul Rudd's a
likable.
comedic genius.
I was gonna say he's as likable as he gets. Jonathan Majors is great as Kang, and there's a lot of other great performances as well. But it was good. I do think that the third act struggled a little bit, and there's still, some misplaced comedy where you can really feel it in these, where they're trying to really build up Kang as, the big next threat, and then all of a sudden there's, a Baskin Robbins joke thrown in there. Although that one wasn't too bad. So there was some
I
good
will
parts.
say, like the little gelatin creature getting shot so many times. That joke kind of went.
Well, it's like you said, you're in the middle of this, world-ending battle, basically,
Yeah.
and then they cut to their humor. And it's, we've seen it a trillion times. It's honestly probably not even worth complaining about at this point. It's, you're going to get it. So
I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was bad so much as it just was. It kind of threw everything out of place. Really, it kind of took you out of the moment.
yeah, and for me, that's kind of the big hit on this is the Ant-Man movies were, lighthearted, just adventures where I thought it was interesting to introduce Kang in the Ant-Man movie because tonally it feels kind of off. Where Kang is supposed to be has a very different vibe, and they work well together. I don't hate seeing them on screen together per se, but I kind of told Matt after this, it feels like this was more of like an Ant-Man mixed with Doctor Strange movie, and so I wish they could have introduced it a little bit differently. But with that said, at least we now have a little bit to look forward to in terms of King's story in the post credit. There's a lot to.
The two post credit scenes are really good in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Also, one thing I did not expect, and mostly because I'm trying to avoid spoilers for the most part, but I did not expect Darren Cross or Yellow Jacket to come back.
Yeah, that was
that threw me off. I'm like, what? He's still here?
And he's a good example of that third act kind of shenanigans. And he's all over the map. I don't know. We haven't talked about him. I thought it was very odd. His CGI face. It was.
I know
it was hard to look at. Even.
It wasn't terrible, but I've seen worse.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot worse examples of CGI than that, but it wasn't necessarily like.
No, it wasn't the worst.
But it wasn't great.
He was an odd character.
It did. You're right. It kind of threw me off too for a little bit. I'm like.
I don't know his character in the comics either, but it doesn't sound. I doubt that this is a new version of it. I would imagine that.
For the most part, as far as I'm aware, it does seem pretty. It does seem pretty new and familiar. So overall, this movie I thought really does a great job of setting up Kane.
Yep.
Just like the first season of Loki did.
Yep. We got a lot of backstory on Kane, who he comes from, what his motivations kind of are, and now. The post-credit scene, the first one, showed what was it called, Matt? Is it the King Council or something?
That's what I thought it was.
The Council of Kings. I don't know if I'm making up that term, or it could be.
That sounds about right.
So we're gonna get a lot of variants. I don't believe the King we saw today is dead.
That's what that end credit scene said. That's what it said. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
When you see,
it could just be a really clever misdirect.
I don't know. In my mind, we've seen superheroes come back unless you see their dead body and you mourn them in the movie. You wouldn't mourn Kane, but they typically find a way to come back, in my opinion. So I think he's still around, but I think he'll be in the. I think we'll see new Kings next. I don't think we'll see him for a while. Even if ever, maybe I could be wrong.
I would say that's most likely the thing that's coming.
And this is finally something and probably my biggest ride with Phase 4 is we haven't had anything to talk about that's going to extend over the MCU, kind of that overarching theme and plot. And at least this Ant-Man has finally given us that, so we can. It's like I said. Now we're talking future movies. Who Kings? What are we going to see? Loki. The second post-credit scene involved Loki and Owen Wilson's character and
Morbius, I believe.
Morbius, that was an awesome post-credit scene.
I'm wondering if that was the original Kang.
Yeah,
that's what I'm wondering.
Loki's definitely trying to find something out about him, and they're in some time period where, I think we'll see whoever this variant of Kang. This is the cool stuff. This is.
That's one thing that I really am enjoying about this version, about this villain in the MCU in particular. It's like. Because they're basically setting him up as a multiversal villain with so many, like an infinite number of counterparts, or doppelgangers, if you will.
Yeah.
Jonathan Majors is going to have a lot of room to just kind of like experiment.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, just give each one of them like a unique identity. If you will.
That's what I was going to say.
Because the one in this one was a lot more serious and dark and a little bit more emotionally manipulative than the one that we saw in the end of Loki season 1, in my opinion. The one in Loki season 1 was a lot more over the top, if you will.
Yeah.
A little
more energetic.
Yeah, a lot more energetic.
A little bit funnier.
Yeah.
Just had a different energy.
Yeah, he just had a very different energy. And honestly, I love Jonathan Majors.
Well, that's where I was going to interject. Just credit to Majors on that. We've spent now time with 2 variants of Kang. We will get more, obviously.
Yeah.
But 2 they feel like totally different characters.
They really do.
It's to even throw a little DC love. It's kind of that Tom Cavanaugh thing where he's played.
With
if you've seen the
Reverse Flash,
Tom Cavanaugh plays.
I love Tom Cavanaugh in Reverse Flash.
Multiple characters in the show, and I think it would be very difficult, obviously, to play 2 characters on the same world or something and he makes them vastly different, and everyone's unique, and it feels like a whole new character. That's what Majors is doing on what's going to be a much larger scale.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt.
So yeah, we've spent two variants, and obviously with the first post-credit scene, we saw about 100 million. It looked like, and not literally, but yeah.
So what I'm wondering is if we're going to try to get like some version of the Young Avengers coming up.
Oh, we're definitely building.
Because with Cassie now having her own version of the Ant-Man suit, and Riri Williams from Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and possibly even Spider-Man, like maybe being a mentor or something. Maybe. I mean, it just depends on what's going on with Sony. I haven't been keeping up with that, but there's no doubt that.
They're building.
I mean, Tom Holland is coming back as Spider-Man. If they get rid of Tom Holland,
I think it's confirmed. They're writing the script right now, I believe.
Oh, they are? Yeah. Oh, man.
Tom's in for it. There was some weird news after that it sounded like Tom was leaving, but it was all debunked. None of it was true.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
He just wanted to spend a little time on some outside projects.
I mean, that's fair.
We weren't in a rush to get another movie. That No Way Home was so good that let everyone sit on it for a bit. And then
that's totally fair. Yeah,
so
that's totally fair.
But
I would love to see like some version of the Young Avengers team in either Avengers 5 or 6, possibly both. Yeah. But I don't know, just to kind of help them get set up a little bit because Riri's going to get her own show. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
We've got a lot of young.
I mean, we got a lot of young blood.
So I think there's a young Loki out there that's.
It's possible. Wait.
In the show, there's
like that boy Loki. They might bring him back. I'm curious now.
Thor's now kind of adopted daughter could be something.
That's also true. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, there's even probably more, Matt, that we're forgetting. This is what I mean. There's so much going on.
And there's just so much going on.
But Kang can hopefully bring it together a little bit. I think that's what we all, that was my favorite part of the MCU is all these overarching stories that can come together. That's why, my favorite movies are always going to be the Avengers and, those when the whole gang's together. So,
totally fair enough.
And I'll be excited to see the different variants that.
Oh, I know.
You could throw a lot of variants and do a lot of different stuff. You got King good guys, King bad guys.
I know. I'm kind of curious to see if at least one of the Kings actually sides with the Avengers.
Well, it sounded like that King we met in Loki wasn't really a bad guy. He was just trying to make the best of a bad circumstance, really.
The way I see it, I don't really see him as an outright hero.
Yeah.
I would say he's kind of more of like an anti-hero, kind of like Punisher for the most part. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was kind of getting those kind of vibes when I saw the show. Man, oh my God, that was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Good Lord, man. Oof.
Yep, well,
I know. I'm looking forward. I'm actually looking forward to what Phase 5 has to bring, honestly.
Well, that's good news to hear. I'm more excited now. They still got to win me over. I feel like we're just, and I was telling Matt at the theater, we're getting a lot of okay to good movies in the MCU
right now. That's true.
I always say No Way Home is my favorite movie of all time, but
fair enough.
It's not really for MCU reasons. I like the other characters that brought in that were outside the MCU that really pulled that movie together for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't really count that. And aside, they were just so... We need to see, we've got some big movies coming up. We saw the Guardians trailers. That one's coming around the corner.
Yeah, that's coming in May. I'm totally looking forward to it.
I think everybody's excited. It sounds like it's going to be a pretty firm, this is it for the Guardians. This will be the last showing, at least of this ensemble. The MCU will always pick up characters and move them around. But
the way I see it, it's definitely not the end for at least some of these characters, in my opinion.
Yeah, but...
But
this is James Gunn's. This is his trilogy. This is going.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be the last. It's definitely the last Guardians film. But it's definitely not the last time we're going to be seeing these characters.
We've already lost a couple characters confirmed that are going to leave the MCU. It sounds like afterwards.
Because from what I've heard, Dave Bautista doesn't want to play Drax anymore.
And I think Bradley Cooper is going to move on outside the MCU. So and like I said, the characters will be there. Star-Lord, I think Chris Pratt, I'm sure will bounce around and find a spot in the MCU. But
they could. I do think they might do a second Eternals.
Yeah, I think we're all on board for it. We just the
execution was terrible. The execution of the first Eternals movie was garbage.
They took us. At least they took a swing. I tried to defend Eternals. It's not good. Don't get me wrong. I don't defend the actual execution of the movie, but
but they did set up a lot.
Yes, they did, and there's storylines in there I'm interested in. We just need a little bit.
And
more.
Personally, I do feel like just with the whole Guardians thing, like after this movie, I do feel like, I mean, again, I could be wrong. I do feel like a lot of those Guardians characters are going to try to team up with the Eternals characters.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And actually try to free like the other Eternals characters that were captured at the end of the first Eternals movie.
Yeah.
I mean, or maybe like have like some sort of cameo between them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. That's just my gut feeling at the moment. I could absolutely be wrong.
We'll have to see where those go. That could be interesting. That would make sense. You know, it'll be curious to see where they team up. I don't.
I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense from that perspective. If you're setting up the Celestials as a big villain, because that's what they kind of did with the Eternals.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I think Eternals, I can't make any predictions on it because I just don't. They're going to reduce a lot of it, I think, in terms of changing just what that means. They have to because it wasn't very well received. So we'll have to see where that goes. But like I said, at least it's all got us talking about what the future of the MCU is looking like. Because for a while there, it didn't just felt like they were spewing out a lot of content. And some of it was okay, and then most of it was forgettable.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I don't know where they're going to go with Ant-Man, though. They left it very open-ended.
Yeah, obviously the good news for the Ant-Man fans is Ant-Man's going to be important going forward.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt.
The quantum realm and Kang and him are all pretty interconnected, so he's
or at least that's what it seems like.
Yeah, he's going to be probably one of the main guys.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is, I was thinking this throughout the entire movie. The thought that I had was, I mean, I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase it. What if the quantum realm is literally the place where all of the different universes within the multiverse intersect?
That would make sense. Well, that's kind of because it's outside time. And
exactly. Like it's like
there's definitely something brewing between the multiverse and the quantum realm and the TVA. There's all those organizations. Well, they're just those. I mean, the MCU.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to me, there's no way like the quantum realm is not related to the multiverse in some way. Like,
it definitely
it has to be like. I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase it. Like, it's like the glue that basically holds the multiverse together. Is what I'm thinking.
I don't think you're too off. And to go back to the movie a little bit, that is probably one of the better parts. Is Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, it didn't really feel like it was multiverse madness. You know what I mean? It just kind of, he jumped to a couple Earths. You didn't really spend a lot of time learning, call a couple cameos. This one, I mean, you're in the quantum realm pretty much the entire movie. And
not only that, but it definitely feels...
And
it feels alien.
Yeah, and Janet Van Dyne is the one who spent time here. And slowly throughout the story, we peel back what she did, her 30 years while she was gone. Yeah. And it just kind of builds. Again, there's still a lot more to build, but you meet characters, you build. I think this movie does a little bit better than the Multiverse of Madness in terms of building the quantum realm. Because that's what I like. The MCU's got all these cool now universes and new worlds. And Black Panther did a good job, too, of kind of building that. What's the place called?
Talokan or something?
Yeah, that world up a little bit as well.
Yeah, basically Marvel's Atlantis, essentially.
Yeah, so that's some of the cool stuff. We'll still have to see on the multiverses. We still really haven't done a ton with it, but I think that's where Kang is going to start to change that.
And that's totally fair. And hopefully, I want to say, I mean, personally, I want to see, I mean, I doubt it's probably going to happen, but I wish they would do like an Ant-Man Doctor Strange crossover.
Yeah, it feels
to basically kind of like merge the quantum realm with the Doctor Strange. Hopefully, kind of explain both of those concepts a little bit more in detail together.
Yeah,
I mean that's kind of what I'm hoping for personally.
Paul Rudd and Benedict
Cumberbatch.
I would love together.
I mean that movie would be so good.
And this movie, I mean, visually speaking, it feels like they're coming together, at least just how they look, which is, I mean, overall, visually, this movie was amazing. I mean, for being basically, every scene they shot was probably just green screen. I mean, the performances were well, and you could probably pick holes like I already did on Darren Cross. Yeah, on his face, but it never bothers me. That I'm not a huge, Stifler, so I thought a lot of the scenes looked very cool, and the quantum realm had some cool designs and unique. I mean, this movie was very well done, in my opinion, in terms of the aesthetic. I mean, that's just my opinion. For what they were going for, they shot high, and
they nailed it on that one for sure. I mean, so personally, overall, I feel like this is definitely a pretty good start to Phase 5.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't disappoint like Phase 4. We don't. I mean, only time will tell. But I mean, anything else?
I think we've nailed it today, Matt. So looking forward, we'll be back here for Guardians, I'm sure. So sounds good.
Until then, Matt Brothers Commentary signing out.